Guys, Doflamingo is not joining Cross Guild, and it makes literally no sense for him to join Cross Guild either. One of the theories that never made sense to me ever within the One Piece fandom is the theory that Cross Guild will recruit Doflamingo. Why? Especially when these are the same people who think that Trafalgar Law will also join Cross Guild. Did we skip Dressrosa or something? This always felt like fanfiction to me. Don't get me wrong, I really like the concept of Doflamingo joining, but it's very out of character for Doflamingo, which I'll get to later on in this video. But I want to propose a much better and more likely scenario, and that is Doflamingo will actually join the Blackbeard Pirates. And Oda has set up important plot points for this very scenario to actually happen, such as Blackbeard wanting to claim Law's Devil Fruit, whilst Doflamingo also wants to claim the same Devil Fruit. Or maybe how Doflamingo is now conveniently in Impel Down, and how Lafitte and Van Augar are the perfect plot devices for actually breaking into Impel Down, as we've already seen happen, and much more, which I will get into. I highly urge you to stay till the end of the video, because you may very well be on the Doflamingo and Blackbeard alliance train. On the agenda, join the agenda, my friend. This is the end of the Doflamingo joining Cross Guild era. We are ending this era right here and now. This is my era, okay? It's my era. Doflamingo is joining Blackbeard. I know what you're thinking, but King of Toast, why do you say it makes no sense for Doflamingo to join the Cross Guild? Isn't Cross Guild an assembly of the 7 warlords? I mean, we already have Mihawk, Buggy, Crocodile. Isn't Doflamingo the perfect next candidate? Yeah, maybe if this was some video game where you design your own custom team. No, these are characters with actual real motivations and history. Literally, the boss of Cross Guild, Crocodile, does not like Doflamingo, not even in the slightest. This was literally a major plot point during Marineford. Crocodile set out to Marineford so that he could get revenge on Whitebeard, but even his hatred for Whitebeard did not persuade him to team up with Doflamingo, who also wanted to take out Whitebeard. In fact, he refused his alliance at least three times. Then they got into an actual fight. And in fact, I could argue that Doflamingo joining Cross Guild would only make Doflamingo betray Crocodile, because we actually see Doflamingo beheading Crocodile. Because if Doflamingo did join Cross Guild, first of all, he'd want to be the boss, there's no doubt about that. He's a celestial dragon who sees himself above all others, referring to others as human as if it's an insult. The irony in that as well. And Doflamingo is a natural king. He is a king who rules over others. Doflamingo, even as a kid, had the 1 in a million quality of a king, which is why Trouble and the others decided to serve him. Only thing he's ever actually known is to rule over others. Heck, he literally manipulated and orchestrated his rise to the throne on Dressrosa to be king. You think Crocodile will be okay with that? No, he wouldn't, because Crocodile is just like Doflamingo. He sees himself in Doflamingo. He knows that what he's dealing with is just a manipulator who always gets what he wants and pulls all the strings. Crocodile also refuses to be an underling to anyone else. He literally ran an entire crime organization from the shadows in Baroque works. Manipulated and he orchestrated his rise to a nation hero, just like Doflamingo did. So yeah, that's why at Marineford it made total sense that their wills clashed like water and oil. They are never getting along. And if we're going to assume that Trafalgar Law will also join the Cross Guild, which I do think will happen, then Doflamingo will just kill Law. He'd kill Crocodile as well and become the boss. And Mihawk isn't exactly the moral police here, is he? Since he literally hunts down fleets like Don Krieg just for fun and because he's bored. Doflamingo will literally be the mastermind, literally and metaphorically pulling the strings, whilst Mihawk will act as the muscle of the group, as the only real Yonko level threat who defeated Shanks in a sword duel. But the truth is, Crocodile is the boss and he won't allow Doflamingo to join. Now this is where we get to the juicy stuff, what everybody has been waiting for, why Blackbeard is recruiting Doflamingo. So a big question within the One Piece fandom is, who is going to break Doflamingo out of Impel Down, and how will they even do it, as it's not an easy feat. You have to get through the gates of bloody justice. But guess who's already done that? That's right, the Blackbeard Pirates. And not only that, I believe Doflamingo and Blackbeard would actually get along pretty well. Surprisingly well. If Aokiji, one of the pillars of justice, teamed up with Blackbeard, then anything's possible. Okay, now let me cook. Let me cook. Both Doflamingo and Blackbeard, they both want Law's Devil Fruit to gain immortality. Both Doflamingo and Blackbeard hate the world government and want to actually bring them down. Doflamingo's Smile Factory was about creating artificial devil fruits, and Blackbeard likes to hunt down devil fruits, and with Caesar Clown being around still, Doflamingo can actually supply Blackbeard with artificial zones. So yes, they see eye to eye on many things. In fact, a breakdown step by step of why and how they will break Doflamingo out of Impel Down, and the actual consequences of Doflamingo joining. So remember when I said that Lafitte and Van Augar are the perfect plot devices to break Doflamingo out of Impel Down? Well, here goes step 1. Van Augar uses the warp fruit to send himself and Lafitte into the control room for the Gates of Justice. Step 2. Just like he did during the Marineford arc, Lafitte will actually use hypnosis to make the guards open the gates. This is where Blackbeard and the rest of the crew have an opening. Step 3. Blackbeard uses his Earthquake Gura no Mi fruit to destroy the Impel Down's front gates. Step 4. They'll make their way down by defeating the Impel Down guards and beasts. And this time they will definitely defeat Magellan, because with his Gura no Mi plus Shiryu, there's no way that they'll lose. Which leads us to the final step. They make their way to level 6 where Doflamingo is, and Blackbeard offers a proposal. Blackbeard really has his way with words. I believe he will convince Doflamingo in the same manner that he was able to convince Aokiji of all people to join the crew, by telling him, look, all pirates on my crew serve their own selfish agendas. Being part of my crew is not about bootlicking. You are free to be as selfish as you want to be on my crew. Doflamingo could join a crew where he doesn't have to put Blackbeard on a pedestal. Doflamingo can still be himself, as he is only there to serve his own selfish agenda. We have seen Doflamingo in similar situations before, in fact worse situations for Doflamingo where he has less freedom, such as being part of the warlord system. Sure, he had freedom, but he was still working with the Marines. Now, there are no rules, he can do what he wants. And I know this is true because Aokiji could easily destroy Blackbeard, but he's still working on the same crew because he doesn't put Blackbeard on a pedestal. He doesn't have to. Being part of Blackbeard's crew is about serving yourself, not serving your captain. They don't care about Blackbeard. Only the OG4 care about Blackbeard, which I made a video on. You can watch it over here after this video. Also, Blackbeard can also see Doflamingo as the perfect bargaining chip to demand the Celestial Dragons of anything they want, be it making Hachinosu a member nation of the world government, or other things like handing over the Seraphim and upgrading their crew. Because guess what? Doflamingo already blackmailed the world government before because he knows the secret treasure of the Holy Land. This is the ultimate blackmail tool Blackbeard and Doflamingo can use against the world government. Not to mention, if Trafalgar Law joins Cross Guild and Doflamingo joins the Blackbeard Pirates, then this is the perfect setup for Law and Doflamingo to have a rematch. Either Law gets revenge for Corazon, or Doflamingo kills Law, is about to claim the immortality fruit, but is then betrayed by Blackbeard at the last minute, killing Doflamingo in the process and making sure he himself gains immortality, making him on par with Emu, because Emu is the recipient of the immortality surgery as Ivankov suggested. This will make Blackbeard the ultimate final antagonist for Luffy to defeat. So, with everything in mind, do you still think Doflamingo is joining Cross Guild?